You worked on Rambo, right?
Yeah,
That was like I just a little anecdote. I got that game for my birthday that year, and
Nice.
it was terrible, and I had to play that game for 6 months until Christmas.
until because back then you only
Yeah,
had like
you had
one
2 games
game
a
at
year.
time. Yeah. Greg Fishback came to me and was like, "What do you think? Here, try this out. What do you think of it?" And I played it and I said, "This is like garbage."
Did you even know it was Rambo at the time? Because
Yeah,
you
yeah,
couldn't
no,
even
it
tell
was-
if it was in Japanese.
It was.
supposed to be.
I mean, the box had
the
a
box
giant
already
Stallone with the
okay.
machine gun.
Yeah, they
right?
already had the box.
And Rambo was hot at
Yeah.
that time, right? Like that was a great movie. And I just was like, "Oh, this game is garbage." I didn't understand that the power of marketing, right? That it doesn't matter if the game is garbage. It's got Rambo on the box. And so he goes, "Well, we're gonna make it." And I go, "Okay." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "We're probably gonna order like 5 million cartridges, maybe 6. I don't know." He's like, "What do you think? 5 or 6?" Yeah, 6. I don't know. But back then, if it had, there was Rambo, Airwolf, like Bigfoot monster trucks. If it had a brand that people knew, you would sell 5 million. It didn't matter. Like there was no internet to shit on it, right? There were barely
There was
even
no
magazines.
games though, because I remember getting that game for my birthday because there was nothing else out.
Yeah, and there were barely even magazines writing reviews. So it was like if you saw the box, you would just have to take a risk.
Do you think brands are really worth as much nowadays as they were back then? I feel like back then it was a lot easier to use a brand to sell something.
I mean, I've even heard talking to like the movie companies and stuff, they can't give some of the licenses away now.
Well, they won't give them away. They want you to pay for them. Like
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like for like a movie.
yeah.
Like one guy was saying, this was a couple of years ago. What was that? The zombie thing with Brad Pitt.
World War Z.
World War Z. And he was going, "Yeah, we have this World War Z. It's zombies. It's Brad Pitt." And we're like trying to get someone to pick up the license, and we can't. I mean, it did eventually become a game.
It actually
but
a pretty successful game.
5 or 6 years later, I think.
Yeah, that's right. It came out a long time later.
Because they just, and at the time they were going, we can make deals? Slot machines.
Yeah.
So they could do a slot machine deal for any IP because, Vegas casinos are just full of these like video game slot machines now. But for games based on movies, it's not what it used to be, right? And in the Acclaim days, 3/4 of our games were just movies.
Well, I think that the brands want too much. Like I've had meetings with major movie studios, and they get you, we have all these brands, and you're like, oh, cool. And then you go there, and they're like, which one do you want? And I'm like, oh, I want to make this game. Okay, well, it costs X amount of money, and I'm like, yeah, but it's just not worth it for me to pay for this. Yeah. We could do rev share or something maybe, but I feel like a lot of IP just gets sit on because they're just waiting for somebody to show up with a giant bag of money plus rev share. And these days, it's not even going to get you any traffic to have most brands.
I mean, I do think the bigger ones, like this Terminator 2 game came out, I think last week, and there was like a great John Wick game.
Yeah, there's good cases. There's brands that are like really good matches for the medium.
But am I going to run out to get like Zootopia 2 the game? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe on Switch. I don't know. But I'm so glad you brought up the Rambo game. Just like my one anecdote about how things have changed. That Rambo game was in Japanese. Yeah. And the developer in Japan was like, "We'll convert it to English for you, no problem." So we get the game in English, and it was the worst possible translation. So we say, "Hey, we're going to make some corrections." So they sent me like the printout of all the game text. But because there was no email or whatever, they faxed me like the printouts. And then again, because it wasn't electronic, so we had to take like a pencil and write on the fax and then like fax it back to them. But you can imagine you fax and then you refax how.
But you had to fit the text in the same amount of characters too, right?
Mostly we were just making little corrections or adding punctuation or spelling mistakes. Some things I think we rewrote.
I remember that game had a lot of ellipses in it. A lot of Rambo responding as ...
I think that was a Japanese thing that just got left in. So we had to do like 10 rounds because it was all done by hand.
Yeah.
They retyped it. They missed so many things. And that was my first ever kind of localizing from Japanese to English. And later when it became text files and stuff, I mean, it was not actually any easier because it still is communicating in foreign languages is tough.
And I would imagine like the QA back then was pretty dead serious. You're going to make 6 million cartridges. You better make sure there's no real bugs on this cartridge.
Yeah, I'm not sure we did any.
Really? Okay.
I think I played the game. I'm trying to remember if I had I don't think there was a QA person at Acclaim at the time.
Interesting.
So I think Japan did it. When you submitted to lot check, right? Because, Acclaim at that time was NES only.
Yeah.
Nintendo required that. That was part of the license agreement, was you couldn't do anything else. And you could do 5 games a year, just 5 games, that's it. And their lot check was somebody played the entire game. And so a lot of times, if there was a bug, they would tell you and you had to fix it. They frowned on that because they wanted you to QA, but Acclaim was like 8 people.
Yeah.
And there was no QA. There was no such thing as like outsourced QA. There was no teams in India to do QA for us. So, honestly, I didn't even know what QA was. I was just a kid.
I mean, it's even back then. I mean, late '80s QA wasn't even. I mean, it was a thing, but it was still not very formalized. Software development.
Like a year, I think, into things, we had people that were testers. So like each team had like 2 testers, and so we did actually play through everything.
Yeah.
But for the first, 5 or 6 games I worked on, I don't think we did any QA.
Okay. Well, except for playing it yourself. Games were a lot simpler back then too, though. I mean, you could probably find a lot of bugs playing it yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, I had no experience or training, so I'm not even sure I would know what to do. I would just call the developer and be, well, the developers in Japan, there was just
oh yeah,
no
that's
way
right. You had to communicate to them.
Yeah, and you'd have to fax it to them, and it would go through 3 different people, right? Someone would translate it, and it would get mistranslated, and by the time you'd get a response back that was like, "We were so surprised. We don't know. Please advise."
Did you ever meet the Japanese developers in person?
I worked on. I think it was. I'm trying to remember. There was what was the fighting game? It was one of the first Double Dragon.
Yeah.
It was Double Dragon 2. And then every year at CES we had this big suite, and they threw me in one of the rooms with like the dev team from Japan, who spoke 0 English. And I spoke 0 Japanese. And they were like, "Oh, these are the Double Dragon guys. Talk to them." And it was just like, video game good. And they were like, "Yes, video game good." And I was like, "Double Dragon, excellent." That was awkward. I think I still have some trauma from that